Oh, the temperature is dropping and it's time to get the quail ready for winter. So there's a few strategies that you can use to help your quail overwinter successfully. The first one that I use is called the deep litter method. So I use wire bottom cages and then I apply different layers of organic material on top of that to give them some additional heat and comfort through the winter. So I always start with a straw or leaves. We use maple or oak here, and start to put that base layer down. I don't start with wood chips because they fall through the wire bottom, so I'm using 1/2 inch hardware cloth, so the wood chips will most of them will just fall through those holes. So starting with a layer of straw or hay or larger leaves is a good base layer. Then throughout the winter, because it's easiest to find, then I start to just add in layers and layers of wood chips as the top of the straw or hay or stuff starts to get soiled. Then I can just keep a bucket handy and add in layers of wood chips or shavings on top, and then it becomes a really nice deep thick layer, and as that starts to decompose and break down, it generates a little bit of heat, so it provides the birds a little bit of additional comfort through those cold months. So an additional thing that you might need to take an additional look at is the protection from the wind, the rain, and any snowfall. So keeping your quail's pen dry is really important so that they don't get wet and get chilled. So for mine, they're quite well protected, but I did add an extra layer of plastic onto the back of one of my pens, just because rain can come in there and kind of soak some of the bedding. So I make sure that I just add a little bit of extra protection. Just the back of the pen here, and I've just added an extra layer of this just thick poly onto the back to provide an extra layer of protection from the rain, because it comes down this shelter here and then splashes in. I want good airflow in the summer, so I don't keep it on all year long, but I definitely add it for them to make sure they stay dry through the winter. When it comes to feed, you can increase their metabolism a bit by feeding them corn. So here's some here. This is chick scratch, so it's for chicken and quail. So it's got little tiny small pieces of cracked corn in there, so you can definitely feed that to your quail, and it increases their metabolism to help generate some internal warmth. I also make sure that I give them a little extra protein in the winter because of molting, and to help them recover from the molt and create new feathers takes a lot of protein. So I give them a little boost of protein and put some mealworms or soldier fly larvae in, or just boost the content in their regular feed. So that will give them additional warmth through the winter as well. I'm lucky here that we don't get much below -10, and we only get it for short bursts of time, -10 degrees Celsius. So one of the tricks that I have learned around their water is to I use these kind here for them, so they have the very narrow opening, is to use hand warmers. You can use the foot ones too, they have a little sticky bit, and is to put them around the water and then cover it with a wool sock. There we go, we've got the wool sock over top of the water, we've got a hand warmer underneath, and that will keep the water thawed throughout the night. I also use multiple waterers for them, so that I take one of them in at night and bring a fresh one out every morning for them. But this will do in a pinch if you're only got one definitely give the wool sock and the hand warmers a try. Otherwise, if you've got long cold winters, then you might want to look at the electric waters that have a little heating element in them. That's not necessary because, like I said, we only get these brief snaps of cold weather, and I can make do with these. They're also under some protection so they don't freeze as quickly as if they're out in the exposed environment. They're under a shelter. The last thing is heat lamps. Don't use them. So what will happen if you start your quail once it starts to get cold? Like, they'll become acclimated to the decreasing temperatures throughout the fall and into the winter. And you know, quail are quite sturdy. So if you start adding in a heat lamp, and then for some reason your power goes out or your bulb burns out, your birds haven't had a chance to acclimate properly. So it's better off just to leave them without a heat lamp. They're really sturdy birds. They don't need anything additional. They'll snuggle up together and keep each other warm. And like I said, with that deep litter method, you're getting some heat generated off of the bedding. So no need to add a heat lamp. You've also are increasing the risk of fire if you know something happens, a windstorm or whatever happens. You really don't need to add that additional risk. So you know, leave the heat lamps for your chick brooding season, and good luck with your quail this winter.